Guy goes to the zoo, walking around the zoo, looking at some of the animals, comes across the gorilla cage. Standing in front of the gorilla looking at him, he puts his hands on his hips, the gorilla puts his hands on his hips. He raises his hands over his head, gorilla raises his hands over his head. He claps, gorilla claps. He thinks this is really cool. Gorilla's imitating all his moves. All of a sudden a gust of wind comes along, blows some dust into the guy's eye, and the guy rubs his eye, and the gorilla freaks out. Bends the bars, reaches through, pulls the guy into the cage, and just beats the shit out of him. They have to call the ambulance. The ambulance comes, takes him to the hospital. The guy's in the hospital in traction, and the zookeeper goes to visit him. He says to the guy, I feel so bad. That's usually such a docile animal. I don't understand. He never acted like this before. You have to tell me everything that happened. The guy says, I don't know. I was standing in front of his cage, and I was making some moves, some gestures, put my hands on my hips, and the gorilla was imitating me. All of a sudden, I get a piece of dust in my eye, and I rub my eye, and the gorilla freaks out. And the zookeeper goes, oh my gosh, you went like this? And the guy says, yeah. He goes, well, this in gorilla language means fuck you. The guy says, oh, well, that explains it. So the zookeeper apologizes and he leaves. Guy gets back to health, so where he can leave the hospital. He goes back to the zoo and he decides he's going to take revenge on the gorilla. On his way to the zoo, he stops at a delicatessen and buys a salami. And on his way there, he shoves the salami down the front of his pants. Goes to the zoo, goes in front of the gorilla's cage, and the gorilla's looking at him. Guy puts his hands on his hips. Gorilla puts his hands on his hips. Guy raises his hands up. Gorilla raises his hands up. Guy pulls down his zipper and pulls out the salami and takes out a knife and starts cutting slices off of the salami. And the gorilla is watching at him intently. When he finally finishes with the last slice, he hands the knife to the gorilla. And the gorilla looks at him and goes like this.